Hello and a warm welcome back to the WenDirkCast. As always, we'll be discussing latest MFL updates, transfers, developments, and so much more that has gone on over the last week or so. Of course, before we kick off the episode, none of what we chat about is financial advice. Do your road scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. In the studio with me today, I can't remember what appearance number this is now. You know, we're losing count. He was supposed to be on a couple of weeks ago, but stitched us up. Conspiracy theory. And the time before that, the tornado took him out. So, you know, it's been nearly 6-7 months since we've had this delightful character on the pod with us today, talking all things season 11 and yapping about MFL for a long time, as we always do. Welcome in, Tagerd. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I don't know what happened with the last invite. You had it all lined up, and then all of a sudden, you ghosted me. So we have to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe one day, you know, some autobiography each side of our stories will come out, and people will be able to read upon this. And back 40 years ago, when so and so stitched so and so up.
I won't remember 40 years.
No. To be fair, no. Anyway, so we've got Tagerd on Speak Season 11. For those who are watching this, you'll notice I'm a bit of a different background. The room's set up, you know, basically to the point where I can just work, and there's a desk. So behind me, I've got the frame, which is on the floor. If my voice sounds different, I apologize because nothing's really been set up. When I'm speaking, it sounds quite echoey in my head. So I hope that doesn't come across in my voice, but if it does, I apologize. And obviously over the next couple of weeks, more stuff we're putting up can absorb sound and not sound so echoey. But before we get into things, we had the pack drop stream on a Wednesday, little solo pack drop stream to start the season off with. Tagerd, you pack drop wise, when was the last time you bought into a pack drop, or do you buy in pack drops
Wednesday?
anymore? Was it Wednesday? Oh, Wednesday. Yeah. There we go. I was going to say, did you buy? But
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you did or not.
I buy pretty much every pack drop.
Yeah.
As long as I have funds in my dapper wallet.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not expecting to make money on packs or anything like that. It's just, why not? But then I'm the smart one that always buys the uncommon packs, and I got maybe the worst upgraded pack possible this time. So my uncommon was like 65. Then I got a limited, it was like 55, and another limited that was like 56.
Oh, so like the
And they're
upgrade
all
was
24.
the commented to a limited. It's like the most boxy upgrade as well.
And they're all 24.
You know, sometimes, well, you know, they're fresh mints. You know, they're going to at least be plus one. You just hope for some progression bangers. I think the in terms of the players that people packed, they were pretty poor really across the board. I mean, I think every single rare pack we had, I think it was like 3, and we had an upgrade, so it's 4 rares. I think every single one was either 75 or 76 rated, which is just not what you want to see when you're dropping $159 or however much it is on a
Maybe
on a
that
rare
82-year-old 82 overall 20-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Although one thing I've seen less of recently, I need to back what I'm about to say up with some stats. Otherwise, I could look a bit of a pillow.
Just reckless speculation. Let's do it.
It was going to be about the reselling of packs because of like the 20% tax or fee that gets imposed on these pack drop packs. Things like rare packs, you see less of the reselling. It feels
There's just also not as many of them.
Yeah,
so that probably helps.
Yeah, and I think because everyone understands now that the value of a rare pack is realistically, in my opinion, pretty horrendous. That
if you're going to be paying 200 on the secondary, it's clearly not worth it.
Yeah, and even if you spend 160 or however much it is, 150 to buy it up from the pack drop straight away, you basically have to bang like 82, 83 plus 20 or younger to feel like you've maybe, and then plus something decent with the uncommon and the limited, obviously you have those extra bits, but you could pick up an 80 rated 24-year-old and a 69 rated 24-year-old
Nobody wants 24-year-olds. I'm telling you right now, nobody wants 24-year-olds. They're not young enough to be young, and they're not old enough to be cheap. Nobody wants 24-year-olds.
but the stats I wanted to back up was on MFL Assistant. He has the pack pricing where you can see like the recent pack sales, and I'm not sure that even there might have been. I'm not sure it captures floaty or not. But for example, on the since the 7th, which was pack drop day, there's been one of $199, and I think for them to break even, they have to be $200 or more, or $190 or more. At that point, who's spending that on a pack? Like no one. You just do it anyway. So credit where credit is due for the reselling aspect, but also obviously, like you said, we've got less packs anyway. We've had the same quantity of pack drops for the last 3 drops, and the last 2 seasons now worth of pack drops, we've had the same quantity, which we can get onto later about maybe what impact, implications, benefits, disadvantages that has on the marketplace in the long term, if it was to stay that way. But let's jump into our weekly updates. I guess moment of the week, there hasn't really been any because there's been no games this week. It's felt quite nice, I think, having another week off. A quick one for you, Tagerd, for those who don't know how your season 10 went and your holiday heroes. Do you want to give a quick overview how last season went for you?
Last season overall went pretty good. I was managing BFC Barcelona, so my main season goal really was to get them back into Diamond, which we were able to do.
Yeah,
Finished
nice.
second, then won the playoff, so back in Diamond. Great season. Exactly what I wanted to do. Then the rest of my clubs was more or less just avoid relegation out of gold and iron and kind of just stand pat with my lower clubs.
Mm.
And actually had a really good season in gold. Forget what did I finish? Was it 4th or 5th?
With Park Street Maple?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
PSM.
overall, it was a really good season.
Mm. And holiday heroes, anything to shout out about in there?
My teams that made it out of the group stage got eliminated right away, and my holiday heroes was over early.
Any luck on the wheel though? Did the wheel bless you at all?
Not too much. I don't
No.
know exactly how much I got from the wheel. I ended up playing a couple rapids and made like 1 or 2,000 MFL through the rapids, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay, nice. And obviously the other big thing apart from the pack, apart from the holiday heroes ending, we had rollover day. Obviously rollover day basically means you're sitting there crossing your fingers and
Oh,
your
that was great.
toes.
That was great. I completely avoided like any retirement tags on any like
Really?
notable players for my agency. It was amazing.
See,
All it tells me is I'm gonna just get like top 6 players all gonna get it at once or something now,
yeah.
but I can push that off for at least another season.
I think what was painful this time, well, let me go back my experience first with it. So I had a possible, I think it was 60, like 2 players or something like that, that could, or maybe, how many was it? It was 61 players actually, sorry, that had the opportunity to throw up the symbol because I had 12 players who were already in their second year of retirement or coming up to their final one. And I only had 3 out of that 61 throw it up, which is quite nice. Most of them were probably 29, 30, so be a bit unlucky too. But still, to have only, just shy of 5% throw up the symbol is quite nice. I don't know how you are when it comes to roll of a day. If you're just like, you just check to see if some are aging and then you check right at the end after announcement, or are you one of those that refreshes periodically, relentlessly throughout the day to see if their age has gone up in the
I'm a
retirement symbol? So
refresher. I'm a refresher.
did it feel to you like it was the aging process was slower this time than it has been in previous seasons?
Maybe. I just know from watching the past few seasons for some of my players who are getting up there, it's like I have a few players that they end up aging at the end. So I
Mm.
am literally waiting for the end of it to check on like the last player or two if they're going to get a retirement tag.
It
But
it's a horrible feeling that wait.
maybe it was a little bit longer. It's like I don't know. I kind of like the like painful
It
anxiety of it.
it's all fun and games until you're like, oh, I've only got 3 players left, and it's your 3 your top 5, and bang, 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 29, 29, 29.
Would you rather be like? Would you rather it be you got 3 players left and they all get tagged, or would you rather those 3 players get tagged right away and then you're just miserable the entire retire
I think
rollover
I'd
day?
rather know straight away because, like, if that came through gradually, right towards the end, like, oh, let me refresh, bang, one, I'll be like, all right, I'm a bit miffed about this, and then the next one comes in, bang, okay, I'm really gonna get annoyed here, and the third one comes in, I'll be fuming. So I think I'd rather know just straight up.
It's not just let me. Hey, retirements have started. Refresh. Retirement. 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 Are you kidding me? What the hell's going on here?
To be fair, a
You
bit like
want to just want to
progression, where
feel.
like
You just want
progression,
to want to.
I will scroll down gently down my screen, especially on the phone, and do it. So what I'll do is I just refresh, then sort by age, and I'm just sat there scrolling, going, "Please, please, do not be retiring." And the thing is, because there's like a few bugs and stuff where some of the colors haven't changed correctly, I'm like, has he thrown up the symbol or has he not? Is that last year's that they're saying they're retiring? Because I don't even know who in my agency is retiring with 3 seasons, who isn't, who is. Um, but I maybe felt like it was a bit slower, and I just wondered if it was anything to do with, where we had the rewards, the minting being slower, which pushed the reward packs, being open for people to buy. I wondered if it was the same sort of, system that was being used, basically. So I just wondered that, but you know, I think some people got hit quite bad with some of the retirement symbols. I know that Ronan had one of his centre mids pop it with ultimates. I think 10 ultimates at least got it this season. I probably really should get the stats from Mr. Alexis, which is with his wonderful retirement, because you can filter all the players by like who's retiring in 1, 2, 3 years, which is brilliant. And I think there are a fair few, especially the next 3 years. If I can try and find got to scroll through his. So in the next 3 years, 9,291 players will retire, which is kind of crazy. I know we've had a discussion about this previously, offline, about our thoughts. And maybe a bit later in the market moves, but we can maybe talk about that. But just to give some context, it's about if every season we have the 2 pack drops with the same amount of players we get currently, it's something like 2,160 players get minted. Obviously, the majority of players being minted is from reward packs, and maybe that, and most of them are commons, right? Which we can get onto later as well, probably, compared to what they maybe should be from some of the bigger agencies. But overall, tag roll of the day blessed you slightly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it really allowed me to push off any immediate replacement needs for at least another season.
Yeah, it's nice.
Uh,
It's just, is it kicking the can down the road a bit? We don't know.
It's one of those where it's like I don't want it all to happen at once. I'd rather it be, oh, here's a player this season, 2 players this season, maybe skip a season, here's another couple players. Not, oh, here's half your roster that needs to be replaced
Yeah,
within 2 seasons. I'd rather not be that way.
yeah,
And with kicking the can down the road, my only concern is it's going to turn into that, but
yeah.
deal with that when it
Absolutely.
happens.
Yeah. So let's come on to the dev update. It's a little bit of a lengthy one compared to usual. I guess we're back into swing of things now with New Year and Christmas period sort of finishing. So engine-wise, new engine version for the season was released shortly after rollover day. A patch was deployed this morning to improve marking and defensive assignments on the ball carrier. Goalkeeper save behavior has also been adjusted to reduce failed deflections, which I think many people were experiencing, like a long shot or something like a shot from just outside the box. Keeper would seemingly save it and essentially, flappy ant ski, push it into his own net, happening on a few too
Stronger
frequent
wrists.
occasions. Stronger wrists, eh? Yeah. Quinton and Bastiste have already started working on the next experimental engine with a stronger focus on further improving defensive behaviors. And then an interesting bit here, we've begun implementing player energy during matches for future experimental engine. During a match, players will become increasingly fatigued on the pitch, paving the way for substitutions to have meaningful tactical impact. Work has also resumed on the energy and experience models, ensuring they properly count for future substitution mechanics. We'll come back for comment on those once I finish the rest of these. Roll of a day went smoothly for them. ensure that players do not age and pack purchase off a roll of the day. Really neat bit, and it means that once we get our rewards, we can start spending, and people don't have to wait, and they don't age until the next season. Dapper Dollars was paid out much quicker than I thought it would be. I thought it would be a couple of weeks, and literally happened probably like 48 hours after the Holiday Heroes finals. So fair play to MFL and Dapper for getting that sorted so quickly. Development and environment improvements. We've put a strong focus on improving our development environment. The main goals are to enable faster feature development, increase developer autonomy, better integrate AI tools, and improve application performance and scalability. Nice. And 2 small bug fixes. 2 long requested fixes have finally been implemented. Club leaderboards now update again. I know James has been on the charge demanding this for a number of weeks now, because if you wanted to search for who owned a club, it was last updated on October the 9th, I believe it was last year. So, quite a few clubs have changed hands since then, and some clubs have now been opened and packed, which you would not able to see unless you knew what the club number was, or you somehow saw it on the market, or just saw it in general. And when making an offer for a player accepting 0% revenue share, the default value will now be 0%. And says work on the new UI intensifies.
Miss the
Intensifies.
intensifies.
I'm about to end it on the bug fix. I didn't even see that new UI was a bit. Just says
I
work
didn't
on
see
the
that till
new
now.
UI intensifies. I think probably
So what
one
do you
of
think it
the
means it intensifies?
I don't know what it means by intensify. It just, they're like calendar intense UI development. It was just UI development. Now it's like
It
intense.
was very organic, and now it's intense.
Yeah. And then next week it will be with organic intensitivity, if that's even a phrase, or in the intent. We're intensifying the UI development organic. We could, yeah. Right, let's not get into that. Anyway, the bit James, great friend of the pod, on not too long ago, says he has a bit of a question on the sort of the piece around player fatigue and a substitution energy piece. And he says, without more info on how subs are going to work energy wise, because we know they in the dev update they've been looking into it and developing it, do you think it could be the end of 17, 18 man squads if subs that come on no longer regen like they currently do if they miss a game? So I guess, Tagerd, first of all, your thoughts on, I guess, subs and how that might work. And to answer Hammer's question, do you think it's the end of 17, 18 man squads in the future?
I'm going to address the 17, 18 man squad question first,
Yep.
because I think the expectation would be losing fitness based on minutes played compared to just matches. I mean, it is minutes played now, technically, but you regen when you don't play a match. So if somebody comes on for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, do they regen any? And if the answer is no, even if they don't necessarily lose any fitness because it's only 20 minutes, if they don't regen, you're gonna need a larger squad, because eventually you're gonna have to pull them out, unless you could somehow say this person does not play at all ever, just so that they can regen. Since you can't, any substitution is going to, you can set preferences, but we're not going to say player A substitutes for player B during a match. It's going to be all the computer on its own. So I think it would have to be, you're going to have to add 2, 3, 4 more players just to be able to manage that rotation and get the regeneration. As for how I think subs and fitness and all that impacts, it's going to be one to figure out. I hope it's not just all tied to physical, especially when we have the wingers with 31 physical. If they can play 60 minutes and then just be completely useless, that's going to be a little lame. Although it's one of those, like, it's going to be, you're going to need that gradual fall off. But even for those players with 31 physical. They have to have the ability to play 90. Maybe not at peak ability, but if they're going to be completely useless in the 90th minute, it needs to get sorted out. Because even if you think about real life, you have the player winger who's dead tired. All they do is, I'm going to stay up top and try to chase down the ball and see if I can't get a one-on-one situation with the keeper. So it it's going to be a work in progress, I think, whenever it happens. But then
Yeah.
it's probably going to bring up other issues that people want more control over, game management and stuff like that, and how their teams play.
Yeah, I think also, come back to Hammer's question, I think, I'm not saying the end of 17, 18 man squads, you probably still be able to do it, but there's part of me in my head which is like,
Would you though?
no, so part of me in my head is like, did MFL ever envision like 17, 18 man squads even being a thing when the cap is 25 and that's like one of their metrics and everything that they look at,
How big do you think the
what the
bench is
number.
going to be when they're subs? Do you think they're going to do a seven
I
player
assume
bench?
I assume it'd be a 7 player bench. Like, I hope when we get a
Yeah,
7 player bench that goalkeepers can get sent off. I want to see that. It might be really rare, but it's the one player which currently cannot get sent off. I just want to see it. I want to see the carnage of a goalkeeper getting sent off because it'd be brilliant. But anyway, and hopefully we can get confirmation if that actually happens, because obviously at the moment they can't, because you can't sub on a goalkeeper unless you just chuck like your centre mid in there. Um, but it makes sense, like, to have a bigger squad anyway, just from an IRL perspective. And I hate using it as an argument because sometimes it works really well. Sometimes you have to just sort of throw the IRL case out the window because this isn't real life and you can bend the
yeah.
rules slightly.
It's still a game.
Yeah. And I mean, like, coming back to the winger piece, some wingers are really, in real life, are really fit and can last a lot of 90, but the winger position is very intensive physically, and you
Yeah.
don't often see wingers last a full 90 if they're stupidly effective, unless someone like Ronaldo back in his day, just because he was an egotistical, arrogant fuck. He
All they
will.
do is they play in an attack and conserve their
Yeah,
energy for the attack, and they can play the full
exactly.
90, but
But
we
today's
don't have
today,
that like specific control in MFL to
no.
really do that.
And I think, I'm not sure if Hammers mentioned the question as well, but I know he said to me was about basically, you know, with substitutions becoming a thing, does that mean in match plans we're going to be able to like change formation in the match plan as well? Because obviously the match
I would
plan now
hope so.
you can change the setup of your current formation and current tactics, right? But you can't adjust your formation at all. So if I was, if you were playing a 4-3-3-A, could you swap your cam and bring on a CDM and go to a 4-3-3 defensive? That sort of thing. Can you do that? I agree with you. It makes logical sense that when you can make subs, that reflects in the match plans, being able to change formations through there as well.
Yeah, I would hope you'd be able to. But I mean, outside of fatigue for subs, I'm more curious about how experience works.
Mm.
Is it going to be possible to like slowly bring on like a younger player? It's like, all right, they're not really. I have this 17-year-old who's not quite at the level I want for my team, but it's like, will you be able to give them 10 appearances, 20 minutes each, and build up that
Mm-hmm.
experience so that they progress in your team? And then would that be that natural extension of that 17, 18 player squad that might turn into 22, 23 when you keep a few young players rather than loaning them out?
Yeah.
I'm more interested about how the experience side of it really works. I think we'll have to adapt to the fatigue no matter what, but the experience side is going to be what it is. There's going to really be no adapting to it. I mean, there'll be people trying to maximize, but it's like if you create a pathway for those, just like really like deep roster where they could still get experience and improve, that could be really fun.
Yeah. I think with what MFL do quite nicely is that with a lot of the avenues you want to play down the game, there's like an opportunity cost to doing each one. It's basically what's your tolerance to that particular opportunity cost. Like, let's just go down the sustainable route of playing. You play, you get reward packs. That's your churn. I would, in my opinion, naturally, if you do that, then the one thing you give up is probably success, because if you're bringing in a player, developing and selling him, you're selling your best players. The chances of you winning more games and being promoted is lower. Obviously, there's exceptions to that, but be like IRL. Sorry for using that example. You have feeder clubs. They bring in a youth player prospect. They develop them some to a bigger club. They just, and financially they're great and they're sustainable, but in terms of success on the field, they're not, and not the long term. So, we
Do
have
you
all
want
these
to be a
predicaments.
mid-pack manager your entire time in the MFL?
Well, apparently I'm just a bronze beast now, as they say. Well, no, not even a bronze beast. I didn't even say that because beast would imply I do well in
You're a
bronze. I don't.
mid-pack bronze manager, aren't you?
I'm just a bang average bronze manager. Apparently, well, it's better than a below average
How
bronze manager.
sustainable have the Wyverns been during this
Well,
period
since
of
since since since
mid-pack?
day since well since like the early days, I've always been like, just say the starting 11, like four of those are loaned in players. So I'm always sort of, that's my way at the moment of my tolerance is like, I can buy players when I need to, not when I want to, when I need to. I'm quite disciplined in that sense, but I try and loan him. I try and loan in players. Fortunately, I had the Dapper Dollars come in and drop me it was like $150 or so. But I ended up buying a striker. Oh, I know. Hey, shove that up your ass, everyone. Look at me now. Could have won a trophy in the whole of 2025 with the Wyverns, but apparently within 3 days of 2026, they go and win one. It depends if we classify that as
You get the influx of cash, spend it to improve the squad, and hopefully it doesn't destroy the chemistry, and you get relegated.
no. I couldn't hack relegation. Couldn't let the fans. I wouldn't be able to take it. Speaking of people managing teams not wanting to get relegated, as everyone knows, Calver is taking over the WenDirk MFC side this year. His quote last week on the pod was, "I am just so I don't have to rely on tactics. I'm going to stack it." I feel sorry for any folks which is in the Spark League with it, because you're probably going to get annihilated because of the low rares we've got chill in Spark. So, we may get partnered up with someone who has high rares in Spark, and it's going to be absolute torrid time for Calver. But to all those who have, offered up players, everyone's on 4% for the season. Big thank you.
Is Blades going to buy a team in Spark just to keep WenDirk from promoting?
That would be that to be fair. It's what he's basically done for me in bronze. He's bought a team in the bronze league and then just like, I think it was last season, he was like, by the way, I'm loaning like 2 players to Finn from my gold club or something, just so you don't get promoted. I was like, right, this is not how I want to play this game. I don't want people just being spiteful. That they prey on my downfall, and I'm like, I do so much for this community, and everyone just wants to break me down. No, but anyway,
That's great content, though.
no, it is. But I'm just waiting for the day when I get promoted and I can just shush everyone. But at the moment, I've been waiting 10 seasons for that. And it might come, it might not.
And you know what's going to happen? You're going to get promoted, and the first comment's going to be, you didn't win the trophy.
Yeah. Fake, rigged,
So you
MFL
have to
made
win the
win.
league.
Yeah.
You have to win the league.
I have to win. Apparently, if I don't win the league,
You just have to stack it and just run away with it.
Kev has asked, how's my 352B testing going or gone? Sorry. And I probably ran about 10 friendlies. One of which I tried to randomize it, got picked up against my Wents and Worms, which is just like a 5-0 battery. I thought, oh, that's useful. I played some against Zooturch, Gloucester 7 side, won some, lost some. On the basis that I'm not losing every game against equal opponent, I class it as a successful time of tactic testing, and I'll get back to you 3 weeks into the season during the mid-season break to tell you if those tactics and my testing has actually been valuable or not, because right now I don't really know.
What are you picking up from your testing? What have been your observations?
I just ignore the XG stat throughout. I think XG is I think it was in one of the streams last season. I just used the inspect element and just removed it from the match. Like, I just didn't want to view it. Like, it's just a much better viewing experience if you don't see XG. I'd like to see a toggle, like anti-spoil, just, like toggle on your XG. I don't want to see it. I think sometimes it just, I see XG and I go, oh, is it above 1? That means I should have scored at least 1 goal. And it's just like, oh, come on now. But no, I'll hold my comments back for the engine when we speak about the season 11 engine later. But let's get into some juicy topics now. We've got Diamond Division. Just for a recap to those who doesn't know, the 12 teams participating in Diamond next season. We have Meta Mercenaries, Bishoni Milano, Club Atletico Tango, BFC Barcelona, one of the new boys on the block, managed by yours truly over here. Amsterdam Lions, obviously from Dio. A new boy in the mix, Kev, with his inaugural season in Diamond, with his La Furia Espanola, which I jokingly made a comment, do you really need the word Spain in there, considering it's in Barcelona and you've got the Spanish flag on your crest? But,
Wait, there's another Barcelona team in Diamond?
there's two Barcelonas in Diamond, yeah.
God
There's
darn
two
me.
Barcelonas in Diamond. It's going to be the Barca derby. It's going to be juicy. We've then got
Does that mean I have to
so
finish higher than Kev to have a successful season in Diamond?
yeah. Yeah, you got
Okay.
to be like, isn't it like,
Okay.
is it Seattle and Portland Timbers have, or like different clubs have like the little derby between themselves each season? Whoever wins the most gets like a little
You know Seattle. You know Seattle. That's you and the GIF. Go
fight
fight.
and win. You know,
Oh, that's it. Yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly. You knew it, not me. You knew it.
But do they have like a little thing where if they beat each other so many times a season, then one of them wins like a poxy little trophy? I don't know, but anyway, that's going to be between you and Kev. Like whoever gains the most points against each other, like you get like the Pride of Barcelona trophy, and we beat you twice. We may have got relegated, but we beat you twice. Yeah, that sort of thing. But I
I
look
keep my
forward.
job just because I beat Barcelona. Kev's Barcelona.
That's one of the season objectives from the board, is just beat the other Barcelona side for bragging rights in Barca. So I'm really excited to see how Kev does. I think he, with his the Ramble Amigos, wanted to go. Obviously, got promoted to Plat, and Bob basically got hold of, I think it was Dio's other club, and then just went.
Because Dio had another team promoting, I think, too.
Which feels like
yeah.
every season Dio has a club which is going into Plat, and just this
He
season
always
his
has like a
Diamond one
club
stayed
that's
up.
going up to Diamond. Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like it's either him or it's like a Ronan's in the playoff or it's Big Will. Like those three just have platinum and diamond teams just shifting everywhere. So very much looking forward to see how Kev does in Diamond in season. I think it's thoroughly deserved that he gets a chance to be up there and showcase his stuff. Obviously, we've got last season's champions defending their title, Soul Iron Pigs from Bob. BFC Manchester. We've got a Barca derby and we've got a BFC derby. Double derby, baby. How do you feel about that one? The little Barca BFC derby.
I'm going to be underpowered, but I'm going for the win.
Yeah, no.
We're never throwing a match. Never throwing a match.
How? When you say underpowered, just then, do you mean going into the match, or what's the hierarchy right now for ballers down with BFC Manchester, BFC Barcelona? What does the hierarchy look like?
I said Manchester was in Diamond last season.
Oh,
Let's
so selfish.
keep pushing them.
Okay, there you go. No, I think that's completely fair, but very selfless of you. And I don't want to hear that as an excuse when it comes to any matchups later on in the season. But I knew you wouldn't be such a person to say that.
It's no excuse. It just means when I eventually do get some wins, it's all in here.
Exactly.
It's all the credit.
Exactly.
You can't blame me for stacking a team.
Exactly. It's like 7D chess basically we played over here.
It's if I lose, I'm a weaker team. If I win, I'm just brilliant.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
Special one.
Masterclass coming up here from you, Tagerd. And then we've got Tier 1 Masters winner, Sid, with his Los Galacticos. Our two newbies, one of which is returning Diamond Manager and Club, is GTA Ontario by Greninja or Max. And that club always gets me because I'm pretty sure that was Dio's and it's still the same branding. So I always assume it's Dio's club and then realize it's Greninja's.
Dio has sold so many clubs that have not been rebranded. I get confused all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm in with Dio. Oh, but it's not Dio. And I guess maybe it kind of makes sense with the rebranding stuff, but come on, Greninja, rebrand that club, make it your own stuff. And then making, I'm really excited about this one as well. MSC Napoli, managed by Bill, or Bucks for Life, as you might know him in the Discord. So it's another captain. We've got Captain Tagerd, we've got Captain Bill in there. Captain Bill. I imagine he's chomping at the bit to be in there, and it's great to see him in there because I know Tag we've known him for a while, being in part of a captain and all that sort of stuff in the chats we have. So I'm very
So
excited.
now you're going to have a captain's derby too?
Yeah, it's Barcelona, BFC, and the captain's derby. This could either be a tremendous season for you or a really, really tremendous season. We're not
So
even
what
going
you're
to
saying is I have to win 6 games as a baseline.
at least 50%. You need to have you need to have bragging rights at least one of them. Maybe you draw 4 of them, but the 2 you win are in the same derby, so you have bragging rights in that. So no one has bragging rights over you. You have bragging rights over someone else.
But again, I'm underpowered, so a draw is a win.
Okay, yeah, smart. And then making up the 12 teams, we've got sure. O'Brien with his Sao Paulo doing. I think last season was his second season diamond. Now going to his third. So just we always put it out there. Who is gonna win diamond? Go on. Who do you think? I generally don't know. I've not looked at sort of like who's brought in recruits, that sort of thing. I've not dived into it too much. I'm sure there's other managers out there who have probably done that. But just from, who, let me rephrase the question. You're going on MFL 365 to look at the bookies. Who would the bookies have as the favourite for Diamond in season 11?
Until he's not in there, it's going to be the Mercs.
There's so, do you know what I'm thinking that as well? Like, as something there, and I just can't put my finger on it. There's something there with Ronan. He's been a bit too active on the off season, but then
when he's complaining about defending in the off season, he's going to put together a special season. He's locked in.
And also, one thing we didn't mention is that Beckman got the retirement symbol, which is huge. So Ronan last season being like, when will he retire? Whoa, look at that. Did Ronan?
And of course, he has a young ultimate striker because it's Ronan. It's amazing Ronan doesn't have Beckman, honestly.
I don't think it would be really fair on the pyramid and the diamond division if Ronan had Beckman, because I think even when Ronan's like his narrow or his 4-2-2 or 4-2-2 narrow setup has been working so the last couple of seasons, you can still rely on Beckman. I mean, he's got Kovacs, hasn't he? Who's 98 rated, so it's not like it's a huge difference, right? Between well, it might be. We know it's how that progression and how that all works, but I mean.
All right, so I'm taking the Mercs. Who are you taking?
You're taking Mercs. Who am I? Also, Scrubs got back Bashoni Milano. It's not with XVIX now. Was that the same last season?
XVIX was managed last season.
Yeah,
I think they just switched. I think they just returned this season.
Yeah. Maybe I just got. It will be a Barcelona team, and I got 1 out of 2. I got better my odds. I don't want to say Ronan because I think I agree with you there. But I'm going to go with Bob. I'm going to go with Solo Iron because I think he's going to defend his title. I think more determined than ever to ensure that he does back to back. But I do think it'll be a very strong challenge from Ronan this year. I guess the obvious ones for relegation without looking at numbers is probably MFC Napoli. I've not seen what their squad looks like. It's always because there's such a big, step up from platinum to diamond. I mean, Bill does have an ultimate in one of his centre mids, but then after 96, that everything is 93 and under, which naturally is quite a platinum looking side. So imagine he would be one of those to get relegated. But, upsets do happen. Sid did once say that actually he doesn't really enjoy playing in diamond. It's more sweaty and it's quite painful. So my question to you, Tagerd, have you got your towel at the ready for the sweat you're going to be producing during your matches? And I guess also as well, are you nervous for the season up ahead with BFC Barcelona?
Nope.
Okay. Just solid no. You're not nervous? I mean, you've got them up to there, so you you've put them up to diamond, and now you're just going to rev them the opportunity to what's your expectation? What would you like to do? What's a successful season for you in diamond this season?
I want to stay up.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about um, Napoli, and they got the 96 and then a bunch of 93s.
And you were looking at me like, oh, I've not
Damn.
even mentioned BFC Barcelona yet. And I was like, I haven't
It's
actually checked the
it's one
squad.
of it's one of those. I'm like, come on, I'm waiting for you to say it. It's like, oh yeah, you want to tell me that I'm going down. I know you do. You want to tell me I'm going down.
I didn't. I know because you were looking at me weird, like you expect me to say. And I was like, oh no, I'm not going to
I'm
say
just
it.
waiting for you to say it. I'm waiting for you to say it. You want Barcelona to go down. You're going to tell me
As
that.
long as you're not playing five at the back, then I will always support your managerial prowess in diamond. But the second you start playing
Yeah,
a five at the back, you better believe
you're
that
hacking
I'm hoping you to get relegated.
you're hacking a flow to get rid of all the wingbacks. Did not work.
I saw someone message like, I can't get rid of my fullback and my wingback. And I was like,
Jimbo's led the
I was like,
propaganda against wingbacks for so long.
I was like, oops. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it's definitely not all me, but I've certainly had influence because every time I see one, I just gag. And and to be fair, the bloke did say, like, maybe it's because I priced him wrong and went to go check the price and he delisted him. So we didn't really know what price he had him at.
So you know what? If Blades was really committed to just like making the Wyvern suffer, he'd buy into your bronze league and beat you with five at the back. Until he does that, he's just not committed.
Yeah. Hammers did say with the Wyverns seeing success in Tier 3 Masters during Holiday Heroes by lifting the trophy. Good on then. Will Season 11 be the season they take the step up to silver, or will the pressure from Blades be too strong and they remain in bronze? I reckon the bookies would say remain in bronze. The bookies would probably say it. And even
I'm not going to give you very good odds to get out.
I think it depends if that mid-season like engine change happens again, because I
You know
was
what?
quite.
I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to go on a limb.
Yeah.
Not only do you get out of bronze,
Yeah, I go
you
the
win
wrong
the
way.
league.
Oh, I
You
go
win
to
the
iron.
league. You win the league.
Oh, here we go. Ooh, let's just get a bit tasty.
You're going to win the league.
Mm.
I mean, you're not going to make it out of the group stage in the cup, but you're going to win the league.
Oh, I'm not sure which I'd. No, I just want them to.
That's my prediction for the Verns.
Well. You're probably more hopeful than the other like 3,000 people in MFL who own clubs. That, from my side. Right, let's keep on track here because we had Calvin.
You're like,
last
I don't
week,
want to touch
so
any further.
So I don't want to touch the Wyvern any longer. But the hashtag of this week, folks, is hashtag who you think will win diamond. And no, that's not the literal hashtag. I want you to put hashtag and then the team that you think will win diamond, which last time has happened. Fraj put hashtag MFC Roma. No, it wasn't. It was Bruce put hashtag MFC Roma. And then Fraj was like, fire emoji. And then an hour later was like, oh, I've just finished the pod. Why the fuck have you suggested that I'm going to win diamond? Which I found really funny. But I want you to put hashtag and who you think will win diamond. So you've gone for Mercs. I'm going to go to retain his title and his championship, Mr. Orange Fly with Soul Iron Pigs. Right, we're going to come to the market moves now. We're just going to hit it off with this week's Splash of the Week. Just nearly smashed the microphone into my mouse. Maybe the vocals aren't so good in this room, but we'll get there eventually. We've already mentioned his name, but not the player, but the splash of the week is Ronan this week with Kenneth Bentley, a name that even if I didn't tell you what nationality was, you could just guess. With the name Kenneth Bentley, it has to be English, and it is English. Kenneth Bentley, 96 overall centre mid, age 28, sold by BR4 to Roden for $1,500. He has 58 pace, criminal, that it's not more of a contributing factor towards the overall of a left mid, right mid, centre mid. 91 shooting, 98 passing, 97 dribbling, 95 defending, and 89 physical. And if my sources, Tom, tomato ketchup, is right, then it was indeed it was like $1,500, then plus sort of like a couple players going the other way. That's what my sources tell me. And if my sources are wrong, I might have to go to a different source. $1,500 plus 4 players for Mr. Kenneth Bentley. Another centre mid. And we know why he's got a centre mid, because this time in the roll of the day, his other centre mid, Ronan centre mid, got the I say the middle finger, gave Ronan the middle finger. He could retire in 3 seasons' time. And I always like asking our guests, do you think it's a good deal? So I'm going to put that question on you, Tagerd. Do you think that's a good deal?
I'm going to say whatever you get to play for is a good deal. But honestly, for ultimate center mids, retirements are happening. For the teams that are in Diamond that are going to want to stay in Diamond, they have to acquire the talent. There's going to be fewer of them. Whether it's a good deal or not, I don't know. I'm not spending $1,500 on a player. But if you can afford it and it builds a team, then go for it. There's been a few purchases over $1,000. What was it, Sid, that paid $1,500 for another ultimate? Was it like last week?
$1,200, I think it was last week. Yeah,
$1,200. So I mean, we're seeing what the price range is, and for center mid, I haven't looked at the player pool to see how many are at that level. Yeah, I can't say I'm shocked by the price or anything like that. So sure, it's a fine deal.
Yeah, and I mean, Roden has been quite active. I've seen like a couple of players, like he'll bring in a player for like $700 and he'll send two rare or 2 Legos the other way. For example, I was looking through his activity or his feed, sorry, and it was like he sent to let me look where it was now. But like the guy, he bought the player off BR4, so he spent $1,500 on Kenneth Bentley, and then a 26-year-old 85, 25-year-old 80, 31-year-old 78 rated, and a 25 82 all went the other way. So it's 1 Lego, young 26, then 3 mid rares. He also purchased Heinek Zizek, who's a 94 rated right back at 28 years old for $800, and then sent to the Jet Air Japes who bought him from an 85 rated striker, 27 years old. And I think this is quite nice, a 22-year-old 89 rated right back, which is quite tasty. Minted in season 9. So season 10, sorry. So he's aged by 1 year. So, he's basically saying, I want 5 extra overrules now. Here's $800 plus 2 players. Bang. Have it. So
gets it done.
Yeah, it gets it done. I feel like Ronan's made a lot of moves during this transfer. And I didn't realize he only doesn't own 1 player on his Meta Mercenaries. Which, do you want to guess the manager who he has 1 loan from?
Bob.
Nah, XVIX. Have that.
Okay.
Have that.
It'd be something if it was from Bob, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Beckham. But what I want to talk to you a bit about was about the marketplace in general, sort of the supply. But I want to start with this question or debate that's come up recently in the Discord around common players and how, because say there's no trial clubs anymore, the marketplace is at a point where you can buy a lot of older players of a particular rating for low. You can buy probably like a 70 rated or 65 rated, 68 rated 31-year-old who hasn't got a retirement symbol, like low mint, ID for say like a couple of dollars. We're seeing a reduction in demand for those lower rated players. We're talking like the low limiteds, commons. And some people saying like, oh, we need to have like another place for them to be, or you just put them in the development center. What's your initial take on that? You know, some of your low rated players, do you loan them to your own clubs? Have you still got some that are free agents? Do you think it's just a byproduct of the whole ecosystem that some players aren't meant to be used?
I've generally always been in the position that not every player needs to be useful in the game. And I more or less stand by that. So
Mm-hmm.
having some lower rated players that can't move, can't get into a team without buying a team, I don't think is terrible for the game
Mm-hmm.
because ultimately it does provide a floor for users coming in that, yeah, there are readily available players, maybe not going to be really good, but if you need to fill out a team, there's readily available players for you to come use. Uh, I think the other question becomes what's the point of playing if you're not trying to be good?
Mm.
Uh, can you come in and start at the bottom with one team and get MFL from the league? And if you're not performing well, is it really fun?
Yeah.
But as for just common players specifically, they don't all need to be useful.
Yeah, I'm of a similar mindset that all common players need to be used. I did see that there was one point which I kind of do agree with actually, was that is it a byproduct of sort of like this whole buying common reward packs and selling them as a way of generating money because it's like the most cost effective? Is it a byproduct of that? You know, if other rarities were more valuable, would we see other packs, reward packs being bought up more and then see, you know, bigger supplies or impacts in the marketplace and in those sort of areas? You know, you have, you know, let's just take Trust for example. I know that he uses them all, or we take other managers who sell their common reward packs, because I know Trust opens a lot as well. Sell common reward packs. If someone's selling them, someone has to be opening them. And is there a point where, you know, because the commons don't get used, the demand isn't there to purchase them, and then it shifts to another rarity, which I kind of think maybe has a bit of legs to it. But yeah, come back to the original question and your answer. I'm of the same mindset that not every common player needs to be used. You could view it. Could you view it like IRL? Maybe. Could you view it? You know, some players just don't get game time, or they don't ever actually become useful. Um, I know, like if I've got some of my low limited players now, I'll just chuck them on like 0% or 1%, just auto accept, just get them gone. Just rather than have them getting game time rather than rev share. And because I guess the market as well is cheap to buy them. Those players that aren't commons essentially, but we do know that there are going to be big retirements around the corner. We do know that if like, do we know this? No. Am I speculating? Yes, but I'm still going to go ahead and say it. That if current drop sizes maintain their quantities, that I think if they maintain their current quantities, we do see a little bit of a supply shock where those upper end players are very in demand. Maybe some like the, you know, pack drop packs become a bit more valuable. I know we've had discussions earlier in the week, Tag, about this because you did a bit of maths months ago, and basically it ended up becoming true, like on this roll of a day, how many retirements there were going to be, or something along those lines. Do you
Yeah, it
think that
was
retirements are like?
remarkably close.
Yeah, it was. You near enough bang on, and I think you're pretty chuffed with yourself, and so you should be. But do you think that the retirement because months ago people were like, oh, mass retirement is just one of those people are saying it's actually not going to be as big as it is when it comes. But I think with the current pack drop sizes and things, and like how the rewards are being consumed, like common packs, I do think it has a bit more of an impact in say like 4 or 5 seasons time.
Yeah, and like I said, as we talked about, it's like I think when we get to mass retirements, and we should be 2 or 3 seasons away, assuming current pack sizes don't go up, that we start seeing more retirements than players introduced in a season. And I mean, that effect is not going to be instant, obviously. I mean, still going to build through, and it's only base. I think when I did the math, I was assuming about 15 to 20% of all retirement eligible players will be within 3 seasons of retiring, and I'm assuming that's going to more or less stay standard. So 15 to 20% of all 29 and up players. That's what we were talking about is the retirement. We're going to be retiring in the next 3 seasons. So it's a not significant, but not insignificant number of total players in MFL, but it's also kind of 1 in 5 potentially of like peak potential players. So when we're looking at the effects of retirement, I really think it's going to be a more top down, because we see the big Wilberts who will sell packs and then use those funds to go buy older legendary players to bring in more MFL from the seasons, because he's he's farms but at the top of the pyramid rather than
Yeah.
at the bottom, so he does a really good job at it. um and I don't know if that's necessarily going to change, where you're still going to have people who want to get rid of their 31, 32-year-old players and use that money to buy someone younger. So I think there's always going to be that pack reselling from redemption packs. So we're going to see the uncommons, the limiteds, the commons. So at the bottom of the pyramid, I'm unsure how much that's really going to change, but mass retirements is really going to change, because I think there's just going to continue to be an influx of new players available. But higher up, I do think there's going to start being a shock. And my personal expectation, it's going to really hit like that silver through plat level and maybe impact bronze a little bit. But when you start getting into iron and below, I don't know if it's going to change too much. And I just have the assumption that diamond's going to take up all the top talent no matter what. So
Yeah.
um, you'll see some, but it'll probably be more like top 4 or 6 separating from the bottom half of diamond, rather than here it is, and then the final 2 or 3 teams might be a little bit weaker.
Because essentially we've seen, back in season what, 4.5, season 5 to season 7, like the increase in supply of packs by quite a bit. And
Yeah.
to add some more context to that, during the peak we were selling 185 rare packs in a pack drop, and now we're selling 30. It's like an 80% decrease. And only were we having increase in an increase in pack supply, what really wasn't coming into effect, and it wouldn't do because it's a long-term impact of the change, was, many people may not know that there was a rarity distribution reduction, basically making Legos more rare and rares more rare in how they generate them for pack drops. It doesn't
And
qualify
then
for
the
reward
average
packs.
retirement age being lowered, so that
Yeah,
peak performance window is going to be shorter for players.
but rares haven't felt rare, because even though you reduce that percentage, you're still increasing supply. Therefore, there's actually not a reduction in rares coming into the
The
ecosystem.
total numbers are going up still.
Yeah, still
Yeah.
they're not coming down. But now, if pack drop quantities stay the same, we're going to feel that reduction in say like rare and Lego percentage, distribution, whatever. I mean, I think it's going to hit really hard, and that's why I agree that it's going to be that silver plat will get hurt quite a bit because you're going to get diamond probably suck up a load when ultimates come out because ultimates can't be generated.
Yeah.
And, you had a lot of players who were like 92, 94 who were now ultimates going to start retiring. And if diamond sucks up plat's just going to suck up diamond. Will we see 90 rated teams? Because it's not rare to see a 90 rated team like in the upper ends of silver, or the lower end of gold. It's not because it's how just the readily available they are. But I do wonder if maybe people are underestimating the mass retirement, but I feel like it's better to over prepare for it than not.
It's going to be interesting because it's both going to be real. I think it's going to be really impactful at certain levels, but for the majority of users, I don't know if it's really going to really change too much.
Because you could argue
Because
that
if you,
sorry, carry on. Sorry,
because I mean, if you think about the majority of users, it's going to be at the bottom of the pyramid,
I
and
was
I
about to
don't
say,
think
yeah,
it's going to impact that much because unless there is like a major shift by the big users that are reselling packs to go, you know what, the talent's just not there. I need to go get legendary players, or if legendary players and high rares really go up in value and their value isn't being weighed down by the older retiring players due to the scarcity, and you see people start spending MFL on higher reward packs rather than, oh, it makes more sense for me to sell these uncommon packs at $18-20 each and then go pick up 5 older legendaries for $500 or whatever it turns into. But unless that really changes and has like a prolonged 6 to 8 season or more,
mm,
I don't know how the lower divisions really, how their
yeah,
kind of team makeups really change and availability of players really change. But
mm,
also at the same time, if the available players don't change down there, there's going to be a shortage of higher end players just
yeah,
because, as you said, the the tier scarcity in drops was reduced and the average age was reduced, so that peak performance window is shorter than it was from the, let's call them the alpha players, since that's the easiest way to
yeah.
describe them, all the kind of original mints.
Was so the average retirement age was decreased? Was the average mint age increased as well? I
Was
can't
it?
see if I can
You
find
know what?
it.
I think it was. I can't remember.
I really want to say that. So like it was like 37 to 35 was a reduction in the retirement age. Part of me really wants to say that maybe the um let me find it. New rarities. Hang on, let me find it. I'm gonna have to. Da, 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 da. Oh, the average generated overall will drop from 62 to 57. Yeah, the average age of players that we generate in the future is also changing, going from 21 to 22 to 22 to 23. So the average got increased by a year. So you've got the average retirement coming down by 2 years and the average minting age being increased by a year effectively.
And the
Uh,
average
and
overall being lower due to
yeah,
changing of
just
all that.
I thought I'd just look at the questions we had, and actually, United Mitch said, "How do you see the market changing this year? Will the lower drop numbers, etc., with the lower number of drops, etc., do you think we'll see bigger divides and entry to the top divisions, or will I still be able to buy old men?" I think we probably kind of answered that. Maybe the old men bit. I think there's still value in older players, um, and I think if there's value in older players, but people don't value them, then we might see how we. But actually, want to come back really quickly to uh, the whole common piece before we move on. And our opinion on this, Tagard, is that not all players should be usable. Do you think MFL have that mindset as well, or would they like all players to be usable in some way? Because if the answer is yes, then something needs to change. But if the answer is no, that they don't need to be usable, then just a byproduct and nothing needs to happen.
If I'm looking at commons from the MFL team perspective, So from a user, I don't think they all need to be usable. It's okay to have some oversupply. From the MFL team perspective, I would say their use is their availability.
Mm-hmm.
Because the worst thing that could happen is run the player to club ratio so tight that any spike of user growth leads to a drastic market inflation.
Yeah.
And then it turns into how do you just let the market inflate, or do you sell into the demand, or do you potentially try to deflate the market by potentially oversupplying
Mm-hmm.
and then hope that the growth continues and it doesn't really turn into a drastic oversupply. So
Yeah.
I think the availability in a player oversupply is healthy long term for MFL. And I would say I would think the NFL teams thought process behind commons is their main use is being available. If they're not available for people to go get whenever they want, I think that's not good.
Yeah, and people want that lottery ticket as well. They call it, where it's just like the chance of someone progressing from common to Lego or common to
Yeah.
rare, and people always bank on that. People buy the lottery ticket every week for £1 or a couple of quid. I don't know how much it is these days, in the hopes of being a millionaire, or Euro millions, whatever. But do they ever win? No, that sort of thing. But it's the hope that kills you. No, it's the possibility. But yeah, I think you're right with the availability. Just having them there as an option is a use case. It's just our expectations as a consumer is like, oh, they're useless. We'll actually be changed our mindset. They're not useless, but we just don't
Yeah,
choose to use them.
it's one of those like, oh, I mean, I don't want to use them. What can I do with them? Nothing. I could put more MFL in to put them in the dev center, but I really don't want to do that because,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not going to win the lottery. By all expectations, you're not likely to win the lottery.
Or is it that MFL wants you to buy another club to put them in Flint to put them in there? Is that part of their, which people are doing, just
Yeah,
to throw
and
in there?
then yeah, so it's like, oh, now I have to buy another club, blah 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 blah. I need more players to fill it up, and then all of a sudden you have more comments that you're not using. So what are you gonna do? Buy another club or just let them float there? But so yeah, from the user perspective, they're useless.
Mm.
I mean, from my perspective, my point of view is that's fine. Not every player needs to be useful, but from I would think from the team perspective, them being in the ecosystem is a use
Mm.
rather than always having to bring in new players for user growth.
Yeah. Yeah. Final question, which is kind of a one for me, really, and WenDirk. It's Reese who says, how high would you rate the chances of appearing of the following appearing on the podcast in 2026 from 0 to 100%? He's got Roden, Nep, Workspace, Alexis, NFT, let's see, is Ron John, Fraj, Jacob, Scrub, Noe Sark, Dio, Greninja, Nyako, and the new marketing MFL employee. And I'll tell you for a start, that's the English guy, the Wolves fan. I want to try and get him on to have a little chat with him. I think it'd be an interesting take from like outside MFL coming in, what he does, etc. I'm not gonna give them individually percentages to come on because I don't think that's the right thing to do. I'll aspire to try and get as many as I possibly can on here. Been begging for Ronan for years, genuinely years. But the other people, I mean, all of them. I'll try and get all of them on. How many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It was like 13. We'll get them all on. 100%, Reese. We'll get them all on. If not, we'll get them all on at
Also, you
once.
get two.
Two. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
So in
6.
2026, you'll have two of them on.
We've had 6 of them before. So
You'll have
I
two of them.
think we'll have 2 of
Dude,
them.
I honestly didn't hear all the names. I'm just going in the opposite direction.
No, Reese, great question. And for those who want their statements, questions, rants, raves, anything about MFL or outside MFL being said out on the podcast, go follow us on our X account at WenDirkCast, or come join the WenDirk Discord and just comment on there. We each week we'll say, I ain't got any questions, do you want us to read out on the pod? Feel free to chime them in there and we'll read out as many as possible, aka every single one. Right, let's actually really hit season 11 then. What has changed and new for this season, unless my mind is completely blanked? The biggest change, Tag, is the engine. That's like the new thing for season 11. There's no big like match plans, or I'm not missing anything like that, am I? It's just the
I
engine's
think
the
so.
main
I think
thing.
I think it's the engine.
I start doubting myself, thinking there should be something else. Maybe that's what we're used to and we're expecting something else. No club delegation. Actually, that's probably worth talking about. Matt did say earlier on in the week that he doubt it'll be ready before season 12. Which, does that mean it'll be ready for season 12, or does he mean like season 13 onwards? I don't really know how to decipher that.
I'm reading that as it's not going to happen mid-season. When they
Yeah.
launch club delegation, it will happen before a full season. So we're not going to see it before season 12 at the earliest.
I think if we don't get a dev update with it in by mid-season, I don't think we see it for season 12. I think there
But
has
the
to
new
be
UI
weeks
is
notice.
intensifying. It's, do, does it launch with the new UI?
Oh my word! Just intensify. Like it's just gonna be the new thing. Like I'm just gonna have like a match plan that just says like intensify, and it just
So speaking of season 11, that is my match plan. Intensify.
yeah, intensify by offense and by defense. That's gonna be. I will admit that I've not done a massive amount of testing with the engine, but I've seen a lot of people since they released a patch earlier on the week have been pretty vocal about it. I
Ronan
know.
started the conversation about defense in the engine for season 11. And I will agree that defense is difficult. I think the additions, or improvements, additions, however you want to phrase it, to the engine to diversify and improve offensive attacks has not really made defense worse per se, but it's always one of those things where there are changes to the engine, improvements that exposes something else. And I think some of the defensive issues from past seasons that may have been covered up just because the offense was more I mean, we all know the past few seasons, get it wide to wingers, let them cut it back, and then get the ball in the
Oh
box.
yeah,
Woohoo!
I think we
I
can all
mean,
agree that that was a cutback meta was genuinely a thing last season.
um, so we had that. That was the primary way for like teams to score, and you can set up your defense for that. So now there's a more diverse way to attack, and we're seeing defenders just, for lack of a better word, get confused.
Mm.
There clearly been some errors that the latest patch addressed, but didn't fix it all. So yeah, I think this season there's going to be a lot of what the hell is this player doing? Uh, I've kind of in a friendly way termed it kind of ping pong marking, where the defenders just switch back and forth, and
Yeah.
you'll see them just like run halfway across the field trying to pick up. They're going ping pong as the ball is coming down, and all of a sudden there's a player that's wide open and they score. We're
Mm.
going to see a lot of that. I'm worried about, and that's where I'm telling everyone right now my match plan is intensify the attack.
Intensify.
Just just not even worry about defense, because I'm not going to try to stress over it. I'm going to try to just intensify my attack.
Yeah, I think for my testing, I basically look at my results. So I'll be like, I'll be like working or doing something. I'll just click a match and I'll run a load and then look at the matches and brief look at the stats. But I'll never actually watch them. It's not until I do the watch longs and when the game and the season starts that people actually feel like watch their games and then see them. and then go like the one that's going to really frustrate me, and I know it will, and I'll laugh about it all season, but I have to laugh and cry. It's the bloody flip flap. It's the elastico. It's this dribbling visualization we've got. I think it's really great we have it, but the frequency it happens in, I think I shared one in the WenDirk. This lad did
So
like 4 of it inside my box and then pings it bottom corner. Show me a clip of some lad doing 4 elasticos within the 18-yard box through 7 players and banged it in the bottom corner. Show me.
have you heard of Anthony?
little, spinny boy. But yeah, have you?
But
What's your thoughts on your
I mean,
flip flop? Flip flap, not flip flop, flip flap.
it's
The elastico. We call it by its proper name.
who throws a shoe? But how long has dribbling been a complaint when it's like who's completing 30 dribbles in a match? It's kind of always been there. We're just now seeing it.
Yeah,
That's really what it is.
and that is actually a really good point because I was going to basically jump off the back of that, and there was a piece which I think I can't remember who it was now. It was Basti's reply to a lot of the comments engine feedback, and I think it was one of Ronan's, and Basti essentially said like, in this situation, the forward attempts a dribble, the defender tries to win the ball during the action but does not succeed. He says that the defensive behavior itself is correct, but visually it does look odd. So that's something I feel like we'll forget about, and it's a fault of, not a fault of the engine. It's just how it is, where the action out, underneath the pitch is correct. It's just how it's visually shown on the dots. Isn't. And
it's one of those, how dramatic do you make it to get the point across without making it so it looks completely awkward and odd?
It's like he said, he didn't give up on defending. He just tried to get to the ball and took time to stand up and come back. But like, how do you visualize your bloke like trying to slide in or something missing and then getting back up and running? You can't. You just have to make them stand still and then run. You go, what the hell is he standing still for?
He had his ankles broken.
Sub him off. Injuries? No, we won't go there.
Or do we?
But maybe. But I'd quickly go back. I've not done a lot of testing, but I think from reading what people have been saying and to sum up what you were saying, whilst they have upgraded the offensive capabilities of teams and how all the instructions work, it's come at the expense of upgrades in the defensive side to the engine. So it's not got worse just because the offense has been worked on. The offense is great, but it's like too great that it looks defense look bad. And right, another question, because it's all about questions and yapping. Because if I see that,
bringing the mic in close,
bring the mic a bit closer with the flip flap and the elastico, and some of these visuals, how much of the engine and its improvement, everything, do you reckon is purely stats driven rather than visual? Because
can you reframe this?
Sorry,
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Is in basically like when they do a lot of the engine upgrading and changing and development, do they ever watch the games? I assume yes, obviously, to understand where the flaws are. Is it purely data driven? Because it doesn't take people long to figure out that the elastico shouldn't be happening that quickly. But obviously, if it's all data driven, does that not appear on the data? Just successful dribbles. Because it seems like once people actually get to watch the games, that's when the issues come. That makes sense? Rather than the engine is good, but it's not until you watch it you see the flaws. So should there be more? Should there be like I know people have been suggesting it's like a dedicated team for feedback who just like constantly watching and looking at the games. Maybe it's a silly question. Maybe I'm answering it myself as I'm asking it. But it just feels like when we watch the games, we see the flaws quite quickly.
So I want to say, yes, they watch the game.
Yeah,
yes, it's data driven.
Yeah.
And yes, I do think it'd be a benefit if there was like a dedicated like test team that was more focused on live matches rather than working on the engine. But let me go back. So we hear a lot about like balancing and seeing the right target number of goals per match, cars per match, all the data, like making sure the data side lines up. We hear that. It's like that's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We also hear things like for the season, they were looking to add more variety in attack. So yes, I think they are watching the matches to say it's not all cutbacks. It's not all cutbacks. It's not all cutbacks. We're seeing a variety in variety of goals. But I also that's where I say I think a dedicated team of testers could be a benefit because I mean, if you're I'm trying to think of a good analogy and I just really can't,
Yeah.
but it's like something we all do. Let's say anybody's making a cake, you're doing all that. I'm making the cake. Cake turns out it looks perfect. Great. You still have a pile of dishes that you need to get done behind you. But if you only show the cake, you did everything done. You got everything done exactly how you wanted. You still need to clean up everything else.
I was going to suggest a different analogy where you make the cake, it looks great, and then but someone else tries it and says it's shit. But no. You think your analogy works better because mine just doesn't make sense. But it was a funny ending I wanted to include on there.
I mean, my other thought process was the whole like Instagram culture where it's like you make everything look pretty for the picture, but really it's just a cheap propped up set. But I don't think the engine's a cheap propped up set or anything like that. It's like you have to do all this to make the cake. You have to make all the dishes. But it's one of those where it's like I don't necessarily think they forget about the dishes, but it's kind of that single focus where it's like we're focusing on the offense. We want to see the variety of attacks, and that's the goal of the development. That maybe what's being overlooked is how are the defenders moving and how are the attacks actually happening? Because one, you don't want to take away. I don't think you want to take out player mistakes in the game, but you just don't want it to look like a bunch of 8-year-olds kicking ankles out there.
Yeah.
And when I say like the ping pong marking, it it just looks bad sometimes. Not often, but sometimes it does.
Mm.
And I don't know how to clean it up. I'm not.
Yeah.
I
We've
don't
not
know
got
how
the
the
tough
engine
life of
works to
having
clean
to,
it up.
of having to improve it. Like, Basti and Quinton and the folks who work on the engine do an incredible job.
Yes,
I just
I
wonder
mean,
who gave the sign off for doing 4 elasticos in one dribbling phase. I want to know that person.
Anthony.
I can tell it's going to wind
Yeah, I
me
can
up.
see that.
It'll be like the players line up, shake hands, first highlight, not even the first highlight. When they kick off and then it goes into highlight. That kickoff will become a highlight. Player flip flaps past 2, 30-yard thunder strike, bang, keeper parries it into his own net, and I'm just there going, "Wow, it's going to be a long season, folks. It's going to be a long season."
And then the second time it happens, you're going to be going, just have a defender take them out.
Yeah. Where is the option for just like take one for the team? Like more aggression. Where can I make their aggression intensify? So they've always said that they will never do big changes throughout the season, etc. And with the feedback that's been given, I feel like they want to make changes to this engine for next season. Do we see this engine being replaced in season 12 already? Is that too early to say? From maybe
It's
what
probably
they've
too
been
early to say.
insinuating.
I mean, if the season creates as much frustration as I kind of think it might, I think there would need to be an update for season 12. But if it turns into about halfway through the season, people kind of get used to the engine and we're not seeing as many mistakes or just kind of figuring things out. Okay, try to really fix the defense rather than kind of what we had done in the past, where it'd be one season we work on fixing the attack, the next 2 or 3 seasons, we're working on fixing the defense until we get to, oh, this is just a dribble set piece season. Great, grand, wonderful.
Mm.
Which, yeah, I don't think defense is broken. It just gets in situations where it looks ugly.
Yeah. I can't wait for season 15 or season 20, and we can finally start doing these like tier list pieces of content. We're like, season 2 engine, was it an S tier, an A tier, a B tier? And it's like, season 2, indirect free kicks, F tier, or depending on how you look at it.
Have you kept a track of like the metas for each season? I haven't done that. Has anybody?
Because it was like, was it season 1 was indirect free kicks, or season 2? It was like, some of the ones we've had are like indirect free kicks. It's like strikers can't score. It's been like 1v1s aren't OP. It's like cutback meta, flip flat meta. It's going to be, I don't know. I think maybe season 1 was probably just speed. Most things relate to speed and OPness and that fact. Or it's like, or I know season 8 will be like 4-2-4 meta, or it'll be like a formation related one.
9 and 10 were the wingers and cutbacks, and
4-3-3 has been strong. 4-3-3-A has been strong, and it's just really frustrating that 4-3-3-A is really, really, really strong against a 3-5-2-B. So it's kind of like, I kind of have to just basically hope that no one in my league plays 3-5-2-B, which they plays 4-3-3-A. Sorry, they play 3-5-2-B. Then I'll fully back myself. Speaking of people playing it this season, it should be that Quinny and Calver will be in Bronze League 8. So we're going to get the WenDirk B, and we'll maybe get a little content creator derby going, which will be interesting. So I think last time I played Calver beat him 5-0. So I do. And that was, I think,
is that officially the Magos derby?
Hankies in, hankies out, the free $2,500. A year old, at least a year old, free $2,500. Well, when it comes to tactic testing, just a really quick one, Tag, what do you do it? And actually, that's probably the first question. Do you do tactic testing before seasons?
I do testing. Now, I wanted to ask you more about your testing, because your testing doesn't really sound like testing.
No,
I don't like, I'm just going to run it friendly.
Yeah, I hands up say I'm not a tactical genius, because my mindset has always been I put too much thought into it. I just overthink things.
When you do testing, you say you just kind of check the result. Do you make changes to see if it changes the result? Or do you just run a friendly, see what the result is? Run a friendly, see what the result is, just because you have nothing else to do?
I rarely make big changes, because I believe that my setup pushes the strengths of my team. Is my shut up, man. My tactics run to my intensify the strengths of my own players, and essentially I watch the engine to go like, maybe I should look a bit more at dribbling this season. Let me look how I can incorporate cutbacks into my team. It's those sort of things, and I feel like just from when I watch the games during the watch-alongs, where to an extent I'm forced to watch them, I pick up things through that.
Forced.
I have to watch the Wyverns because everyone wants to bloody see them lose, so I have to watch them. But for the most part, I just sort of like set up my teams how I think they will play well. Whether or not that's
with your instructions through the season, then, or do you more or less just carry instructions season after season?
Unless it's quite clearly obvious something needs to change for a particular opponent, then I'm quite reluctant to make changes.
So are your instructions more or less the same as they were in season 6?
I'd have to go back and check, but for 4 seasons, for about 3 seasons before my setup got smashed to pieces in a particular engine, season 1 to 5 season 1 to 4.5 I ran the same setup, and that was me getting promoted from Iron and me escaping relegation every season. The only time I had to change it was when I was bottom, and I had to change to a 4-1-2-1-2, and I hated it, but it worked, and I hated it. Something about it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right having it.
It didn't have those fake wingbacks called wide mids.
No, I will happily say that I'm not a tactical genius. I don't spend a lot of time doing it. and that's that's on me. And I've always put myself to blame to that if I do have poor seasons. But if my hand is forced, I will make changes, and that's usually when things are going really badly. But like I said at the start, my tactics testing is is last season setup working? If not, I can pray and move some stuff and
And
hope it
working is
kicks
more
out.
or less just seeing results and
Yeah,
just the results.
I'll always
Okay.
ping up against like 5-10 overall above my thing and just go, right, can I keep at pace with them? But then it also helps that I've got an out of position centre back who's 89 rated and bronze, so that also helps as well in a three back. So there's a little
Talking
bit of
about
a.
these like touching 90 teams in silver, and you can't get out of bronze.
I mean, he's an 85 rated player, mate. That's what it says. That's what it says on the tin. Just when you open the tin, it says an 89 rated centre back. If anyone wants to, we can do a little deal. 24-year-old 89 rated centre back. It's not bad,
Nobody wants 24-year-olds. We've been over this.
Oh yeah. All right. But yeah,
So back to my testing.
yeah. What does your testing look like? Because because if it's less than mine, surely that basically means nothing.
My testing is actually watching matches, watching the friendlies, but what I don't necessarily care about the stats. I will end up checking the heat maps. I love the heat maps got added, and I'll check shot charts because I like to see that cluster of shots in front of the goals. It's like if I'm setting up to get those shots, I feel like I'm doing something pretty good. But my testing is specifically about scoring chances. It's like all I need to see are the highlights. How are goals being scored? Is there a common theme to goals being scored? Is there a common theme to my team leaking goals? And then just make adjustments to see how I can either repeat a way a goal is being scored, winger cutback. If I can do that effectively, I'm going to get goals regularly.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can prevent my team from giving up a common goal, theoretically, I'm not going to give up as many. So my testing is all about scoring chances and trying to repeat the good and lessen the bad.
Yeah. So my team instructions usually stay quite similar throughout the season, but it's individual instructions I usually tamper with if I'm going to tamper with anything. Like I'll change the riskiness of passing or the offensive, more offensive, more defensive piece or those sort of things. Individual instructions. Are you similar? Do you have a base team instruction that then forms the individual instructions? Do you even touch team instructions? Do you even touch individual instructions? Bit of both.
I generally have a base team instruction that I carry over, maybe make a few tweaks to it, whether it's width or height, or if I see a big trend and I think changing a team instruction will benefit, I'll
Mm-hmm.
do that. But it's usually I have my base team instruction, and then most of my tinkering is with individual instructions, trying to get, and this is again where I can fall back on the heat maps, player performance and specifically positioning where I want them to more or less be at certain points. So for the past couple seasons, my more or less general team setup was either balanced or direct because I wanted to get forward and it was a wider attack, but then I had less dribble, less crossing because ultimately I wanted to have my wingers and fullbacks getting up the field. And if it was a back four without a wide mid, I felt really good about a winger and fullback, more or less double teaming the defensive fullback and getting by them
Mm-hmm.
to open up cutbacks for the striker in the middle. I felt really good about that. If there was wide mids, then it was usually a little bit slower progress because the wide mid will help defend the fullback and all that. But it's ultimately try to isolate. I tried to isolate the defensive fullbacks, get them beat, And once you do that, they just kind of walked into the goal. And if a defender came to help, cut back open. If not, hope you
Elastico.
more. That's just hoping somebody comes in. There's still another cutback, and it was very effective. I'm still seeing a lot of cutbacks in this engine, but I have completely changed my tactical setup so far from testing, just because there are a lot more ways of attacks or goals are being scored. So it's one of those where it's like, if I'm building to one thing, if it does not work, I'm not scoring. I saw that really early on, so I completely flipped my team instructions, and I'm still more or less trying
Mm.
to figure it out, and I'll hopefully figure it out by mid-season about how I'm gonna finish the season, and hopefully have a good season. But yeah, I focus on scoring chances and then trying to set my tactics, my team, and then get more individual with players and their individual instructions, more or less
Mm.
create goal scoring opportunities and preventing them.
Does
So I will eventually look at XG a little bit, comparing it to total shots, but then I also look at the shot chart. The shot chart matters a lot more to me than XG.
Oh, good man. Okay, you saved yourself there. Does being in charge of BFC Barcelona take time away from tactics for your other clubs, or do you
I
incorporate
basically do
anything?
all I basically do all my testing with Park Street Maple, and I will more or less, because no matter how much people want to say variance about the engine, it is remarkably consistent. And maybe that's also a bad thing because generally how players play in gold level teams, they play the same in spark ice level teams, they play the same in
Mhm.
diamond level teams. So I don't think I need a test for every specific team, but I will then watch matches in the leagues, and if I'm and I will tinker with individual teams, usually using individual instructions, trying to get the most out of the players for those teams, because each player plays a little bit differently based on attributes.
Mm. Have you signed up for season 11?
I have all
Good,
five of my teams.
because there seems to be a bit of chaos in the Discord chat about whether or not they're going to be an extension or not. Because it's ended and there's been no extension confirmed, which usually is someone like Lucas's job, but Lucas is on holiday, so I'm not sure what will happen there. But
Come on,
actually,
Lucas.
come on, do on a
Come
holiday, man.
on.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Currently there are 6,043 clubs
How many
registered,
were last season?
which by I was trying to find it just then, but I couldn't find it. But I'm pretty sure it's like mid six. Because one of the things for this season was like, oh yeah, can we hit over on Fragis bingo card? Can we hit over 7,000 clubs registered? So this, if it stays like this, no extension right now, right here, right now. By the time you listen to this, it could be an extension, and we could surpass that number. Would be the first time we've not seen growth in a season. I could be
But
wrong.
this is also without trial clubs.
Mm.
In was it season 9? It was
If
flat or maybe slightly below without trial clubs.
actually, I have a little bit of data because I was interested in this, in the sense that the amount of users with clubs from season 9 to season 11 has gone down by 6.2%. So this is unique managers that own clubs, 3,080 compared to 2,886 now. So that's season
What was it,
9.
season 8 though?
Uh, if you give
You're
me
like,
literally
damn
like
it.
50, give me 15 seconds, I can find out. I've got to find out when rollover day was. Rollover day for season 8 was season 8 start was the 25th of August. I'm just using Alexis's thingy here. We're the 25th of August. January, February, May, June, July, August, 8th month.
Alexis, it's a nice thing you Destiny.
Yeah. 8th month. What day did I say it was? The 25th. 25th of August. We had uh, 3,129.
Okay.
So when you look at his thing, it does get a bit awkward around season 10 because I think that was when like trial clubs became like actual. It just, yeah. So I've basically tried to ignore season 10. And you know, I think it's probably worth just not actually not worth going in depth about, but just saying that, you know, if you look at the amount of unique managers with clubs, with a club, has decreased. However, we look at users with players, that's still up nearly 10% from season 9 to season 11, with 5,716 to 6,251 now. So you see more people own players, but less people owning clubs.
Yeah, and speaking of like registration of clubs like that going down, not the end of the world. It's like, oh yeah, we always like to see number go up. That's great. That's grand. If it turned into we have 6,000 clubs this season, next season we have 3,000. Okay, now what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, yeah.
But
If Trust the process just
yeah,
forgets to, like, you know, if anything happens to Trust, I think we'll Nerf probably found it first before his family do, because we'll see there's like you know, X amount of percentage of clubs are missing from registration.
10% of the entire ecosystems now stop because
Trust,
Trust
Ron,
isn't
John, and Big
accessing
Will,
this
but
account.
haven't loaned out players this season, and no one can get any players because their 5,000 combined is X amount of the. But yeah, I don't think it's nothing to be concerned. And for you and I, who are technically I'm an OG, but I'm not classified as an OG by the Discord role. Rip.
Am
You
I an
know,
OG since I got booted
you
in
would
the
have
hack?
been. Yeah, you're not anymore probably. I was never, and I got booted. But the hack
Because
event.
he came after the Dapper email.
Yeah, okay, the June or whatever it was. Um, that, you know, if you were to look at a trend of unique club owners when we were back in the day, it probably would have been up, down, up, down. You know, it would have been everywhere because it's such a small. The game is still very small
It's
relative.
tiny.
Yeah, it's
If you
tiny
really think about it, it's tiny.
relative to other games out there. It's tiny. We've got a big year ahead of us as we intensify. Um,
The organic building.
yes, the organic building. Yes, that's how we're gonna.
Intensify the organic building of the game.
Um, let's ask our final question then, which is from James. Before I ask you for a question for our next guest, he says, "Is location that important for you and your clubs?" And he used the example of he has an Edinburgh and a Canberra license, and he will always sort of like watch them live, watch the highlights in full. Really cares about the location. But he has a number of other clubs which he just skips through the highlights. You know, does location matter for you and your
So,
clubs?
location to care about the clubs? No, no. But then my hometown, uh, when we could request, I requested and it got minted. And once it was available, I went out and got it. So I cared about getting that license. But generally speaking, I don't care about location,
Mm.
except for keto. You have to keep the capital of MFL alive.
Mm. True. I was going to say, well, I do care about location, but both my clubs are from Norwich, so I can't really.
When are you going to get a keto license?
I don't know. I'll probably get more Norwich ones before I do that.
I think you need a keto license.
Yeah, but there's probably surely a bigger premium than Norwich, and I don't want to be a dominant keto side. Although I think it's who's a dominant keto side right now? Was it Finn's? Finn was a keto one, wasn't it? Deportivo keto. Then you
Um,
got Meta
it's not Ronan's
Ronan's.
false keto team that he still
Yeah,
has a keto mercs, but I think it's Finn that has a keto license now.
yeah.
That
There's two plat
he
ketos, isn't there? Anyway,
got it from Ronan. Well, Ronan has the keto mercs, but they're not actually a keto license.
hey, make it make sense, I guess.
He traded his keto license, and I think there's part of an agreement that if something happened, they would trade back. That
I
they
know.
never did. I don't know if
Yeah,
it happened, but then he kept the branding of the keto mercs and put it on to the new license. And honestly, I never noticed until Barcelona played them in the playoff, and I was like, "Hey, Ronan's keto mercs." I'm like, "I have to beat keto." I'm like, "Wait, this isn't actually a keto license. I don't feel bad about it."
yeah. There's none on the marketplace, so I can't really. I guess I go offer for someone. I was looking at the English licenses and just seeing the bloody West Bromwich Wyverns. That always gets me from Big Squish. Um, but yeah, so you don't particularly care about your
No.
no, fair enough. What do you have a question for? Gone. You
How
about to
do
say something
you
else?
care? How do you care about location? Does location factor your enjoyment of your teams.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, I feel like
So
for
if you
me,
had a keto license, you just wouldn't care about the club. You just use it as a filler and maybe not watch because they're not in Norwich.
the answer I want to say is probably what we want to hear. As in, like, my worm side, like the second Norwich team, I just sort of like do that. I care about them a lot, and if I need to put effort in, I will. But I sort of like skip through the highlights. Half time, are they losing by 4? Yep, straight to the end. If not, just like every other second, tap along the second half. Or what I like to do is I like to on my phone scroll down, cover the timeline, quickly tap on the timeline, cover it, look at the stats, and go guess the score in the 44th minute. And I try like play games like that with myself, but location doesn't really.
Quit playing with yourself.
Yeah, cheers. A question for our next guest then, Tagerd. What is that going to be?
You told me to think
whoever it
about
might
this,
be.
and I didn't.
So it's going to be.
I have a question I kind of want to ask, but I also don't want to ask it. So let's ask it.
Yeah, go for it.
If there's one thing you could remove from MFL, what would it be?
Keto licenses. Backgrounds.
No, I mean, but like one MFL feature they could remove. What would it be?
Flip flaps and elasticos.
No, an actual like built-in feature.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just messing. I never thought we'd see 4 successive flip flaps before GTA 6. To be fair, in MFL, that's what I'm. No,
Well, you do realize GTA 6 is going to launch when we finally get that 6th successive flip flap. So we're all rooting for it.
Which leads to a cutback, which actually leads to an indirect free kick because he was fouled on the edge of the box, and then that subsequent indirect.
But it
free
looks
kick,
like he was in the box, but it was actually outside the box.
It's when you get a free kick that actually the ball's partly on the line. Like, hang on, surely by the letter of the law here, if it's on the line, it's a pen, but you can't then place the ball.
Only when that happens, GTA 6 will launch.
Yeah. So unlucky folks are going to be waiting a bit while longer as yet.
You're rooting for flip flaps now.
Rooting for flip flaps. Right, we're gonna bring things to a close there, folks. Remember, hashtag whoever you think is going to win diamond. Are you going to be a tag? I'd go hashtag MetaMercs or hashtag Meta. You're going to be if you're going to do Bob Sol Iron Pigs, you can just go copy and paste his team name or just put like Sol.
Hashtag Bob.
Don't or hashtag Bob. I'm not expecting you to find the characters on your keyboard for South Korean and then place them in. Just copy and paste the name. It's much easier. That's what I do when I'm doing any of my stuff. Just copy and paste it in. But I'll be hashtag Sol Iron Pigs. Who do you think, folks, will win season 11 in Diamond? But before we do anything, we have to say a massive thank you to our head yapper and annoyance of Lucas. This is Discord profile description states. Tagger, thank you very much for being on, sir.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad this was a very intense discussion about our meta soccer game.
Really let yourself down though. You're doing so well. And it's always at the ending as well. I should just, once you say something at the end, I should just mute you. So you just sit there, you're thinking you're saying the S word, and then you're actually on mute.
I mean, I have to get it in once.
First one of the year, hey? First one of the year,
You said it, not me.
Nope. Right. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. And we'll catch you this time next week on an episode of the WenDirkCast. Thank you for listening.
Toodles.
Bye.